Hi, hi everyone. I haven't put out a video in a good long time, but that thing called a life happens essentially. So now I'm putting one out for a couple reasons. One is I went to Acen this past weekend, and I want to talk about that only a little bit. I discovered that big conventions really aren't for me because so much people equals so much stupid. Like, the one thing that continually pissed me off is, and if you've been to ASIN and you've been at the Hyatt, you know that there are four elevators that take people up and down the the hotel, and that those actually broke down a couple of times. So sometimes there were only three elevators working, sometimes there were only two. And when and those elevators have weight limits, and when the weight limit is when it's over the weight limit, the elevator bounces a little and then the door opens again, and then obviously some people have to get off. The times was in the elevator and that happened, uh, people did not get off. They just closed the elevator doors and thought that it would magically change and go up. But it's like, no, somebody has to get out of the goddamn elevator. Why isn't anybody getting out of the fucking elevator? So yeah, that pissed me off a lot. And yeah, just pushiness and rudeness. Not a fan of that either. Um, yeah. Also, I was kind of surprised because I mean, yeah, I'm used to seeing girls in platform shoes and really tight clothing, but there was a lot of slutty cosplay and a lot of sluttiness that wasn't even cosplay. Not that that annoys me. That's just kind of an observation I had. Girls, women, dress however you wanna. I'm not gonna call anybody a slut. Um, right. But also I was with some annoying people that I don't want to get into because yeah. Um, yeah. So after suffering all this annoyance, I came home to something else that's annoying. A lot of people trolled my Clanad rant video, or Clanad, I guess it's pronounced, as some people yelled at me. Apparently, it's a big deal that I mispronounced that title. I didn't really care enough I just, oh, okay. I mean, people say shit like calling Naruto Naruto and stuff like that. Whatever. Okay, so basically, if you guys haven't seen my rant, my big thing against Clannad is essentially this, is that the ending is just incredibly insulting because so I don't really remember any of the characters' names. I think the one chick was named Nagisa. Yeah, her name was Nagisa. I don't remember the one dude. I'm just gonna call him Emo Guy. So Emo Guy and Nagisa is, sickly, and she gets pregnant with the emo guy's kid. She gives birth to the kid. He dies. She dies. Emo guy is all, you know, catatonic for years while their daughter is being raised by Nagisa's parents, and but he does find his way back into this girl's life, and that I actually kind of liked, where I thought that that was really kind of getting at something, because obviously when bad shit happens to people, and really bad shit happens more often than it should really, we have to deal with it. We have to salvage what can be salvaged, and in that case, it was the relationship between the emo guy and his daughter, who was growing to love him as he was growing to love her. Like, that can be salvaged and repaired, and they can help one another with their pain of the loss of Nagisa, even though the little girl obviously didn't know her mother. The guy can teach her about her mother and all that, and it could have been nice and sweet and all that, but then we get this bullshit Deus Ex Machina ending, which, to reiterate, is insulting, because to me it's insulting to the reality of human death, because obviously when people die, they don't come back to life, and the people who are left over have to deal with it. Again, you can't just pray that God will hand wave and your mother will come back to life. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Nobody gets that. That's a fairy tale. That's actually pretty insulting to people who have lost immediate family members or close friends or significant others. It's really insulting to them to undermine their loss like that. So, right, I think that that's bullshit. The ending of the series is bullshit, and I got a lot of people bitching at me for this. Not that I was terribly upset. I mean, basically all I did was, block, delete, because I don't think I owe a troll a comment, because essentially that's what they want, because it's what they feed off of. They feed off of getting people riled up and then having a all out bitching war. So, yeah, I'm above that. I'm not going to pretend like I don't know what they're doing. So, but I'm not gonna really say anything about the comments of my personal taste, because I love Inuyasha and I love Full Metal Alchemist. I love Trigun and Welcome to the NHK and Iran High School Host Club. Excuse me, which I said we're all better than Clannad, and I think they're all better than Clannad. But that's personal opinion. That's really subjective. I did get really pretty annoyed though when people acted like I had no idea what I was talking about when I gave a working definition of moe. Now, granted, moe is this incredibly complicated thing and phenomenon, and for that reason is totally worth studying, but I just wanted to let people know that I'm not just talking out my ass, since I've read books like Otaku Databases Animals, Millennium Monsters, Japanese Toys in the Global Imagination, Japan America, the Otaku Encyclopedia, Beautiful Fighting Girl. Yeah, all those books are about anime culture, essentially. And, of course, since I am a grad student, I've read works by Weber and Durkheim, not really anything by Marx. Thank God I haven't had to read any of them yet, but I am taking an anthropology economics class soon, so I probably will have to. I'm not a fan of Marx. And of course I've read Turner too, and his really famous, for anthropologists famous, The Ritual Process. Um, Read books on ethnography, both writing and reading. I've read The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, which is not uncommon for somebody in the social sciences, and of course, Linguistic Anthropology by Durrani, who's an important linguistic anthropologist guy. So yeah, no, I'm not. I do, in fact, know what I'm talking about. I didn't just pull that definition of moe out of nowhere. So basically my point was just come back to me after you've read all the books I have about anime culture and social theory. I'm studying to be an anthropologist. I think that that qualifies me a little bit to make comments about culture and share definitions of the group that I'm studying. So, right. Uh, Getting just a little defensive, but people pissing me off. Oh, yeah, if I haven't said this before, I've actually decided to write my master's thesis on anime conventions. So I'll be going to a lot of them over the next 2 years, and I might be going to Colossal Con, emphasis on the might, especially since it's so close. It's only 2 weekends from now, but anybody listening in Ohio or who's going to that, so right, I'll be going to a lot of conventions and I'll let people know not to get creepy, but we could actually meet outside the internet if any of you people wanted. I actually saw Hope Chapman at Acen. That was kind of weird. I didn't talk to her because I'm really not as big of a fan of her as I used to be. I still like her opinion and stuff, but I wasn't about to walk up to her and tell her that. The highlight of the convention for me, though, was to have a little conversation with J. Michael Tatum, who actually knew what anthropology was, and he is awesome. He gave me a hug and called me sweetheart, and that was really nice. But yeah, he's awesome and just this knowledge nerd type guy. So yeah, he's cool. And he and Colin Clinkenbeard were funny. I really love voice actor panels because to me they're always entertaining since these people are, since most of them have a background in theater, just very witty and funny and really know how to work an audience. And I love to watch that and I love to be a part of that. So that's why I love guest panels. Okay, that's all. I had a pretty okay time at Acen. I bought Dojinji for the first time ever. I bought some porn, which was funny. Um, I also saw some yaoi, which was called No Money. It was the worst anime I've ever seen. It was definitely worse than Clannad, but for me it was just so spectacularly bad that it was actually hilarious and pretty entertaining to watch. That's it. I'm done rambling. Okay, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen.